What's up, Ninerland? I know if y'all like me, y'all are hurting right now, a little bit upset. We're gonna talk a little bit about this game today. Tonight, I got Wall with me to help break shit down and just do a little quick 30-minute review or 30 to 45-minute review of what we experienced today out here in Ninerland. And shit, man, what's your initial takeaways from today's game? There was a lot to get to. So what was your fucking thoughts on this?
Well, first off, love to the Empire. You know, this one was man, it's hard not to compare it to last week. You know what I mean? You know, this one it just seemed like the wheels fell off right after what the first drive. You know,
Yeah,
I
it looked
mean,
nice, a nice initial drive, and then yes, fell off a fucking cliff.
it's starting to seem to me, anyways, that Shanahan is really second guessing himself. I want to say it's because the attrition at running back right now, because we both know, everybody knows that running game is what makes this offense go. But um, it's more than just that, in my opinion. You could see the mental mistakes piling up through these 4 games. I mean, first it was everybody speaking on Ayuk, like, where is he at? He's like the invisible man. And then last game he comes on strong and tears it up and whatnot. But through these first 4 games, I mean, how many drops has my man had? You know what I mean? It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't look tasty at all. You know, Debo's like a one man army out there. And George is still doing his thing. Jimmy, you know, I love Jimmy. You know what I mean? And I'm always going to have respect for Jimmy. I love the way he battled back last week, even though he got nothing but ripped by everybody for that
Including
first
me.
half. I didn't have a lot of good things to say after that first half, but he showed me his heart. You know what I'm saying? And that's one thing you can't question about Jimmy. The guy has fucking a heart that's
Nah,
like bigger
that's
than his
real.
chest. You know what I mean? So, but the problem is, remember when Jimmy came when he first and he went on that 5 game win streak? This is what he would do when he threw a pick. He would focus in and he would lead a scoring drive. The very next drive. He's not doing that right now.
Nah.
So it seems to me that both him and Kyle are having the same issue. They just keep second guessing themselves, along with these mental mistakes. You know what I mean? And everybody's having them. You know what I mean? Today the special teams, defenses had, and I'm not going to harp on the defense today. Last week I'll be a little upset with them. You know what I mean? With the way we finished that game.
We had about 5 or 6 stops in the first half where
Exactly.
you're expecting the offense to get a spark
Exactly.
and do
Yep.
something. You
Yep.
had the missed field goal by the punter, which I thought was a mistake to begin with. I
Yep.
would have just went for it myself instead of trusting a punter to kick a 41-yard field goal.
You
That
know,
that
I
was
agree with that.
interesting.
I agree with that. It's hard for me, you know what I mean? Because it's hard for me to disagree with that because you know what you got in that. But in my opinion, I said this to Wifey a while ago. You got one punter and one kicker usually on every team. The fact that you don't have them, go and basically study, you know what I'm saying, a kicker's, what I mean, repertoire and a punter's repertoire, just in case something like this happens.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And because I'm pretty sure they didn't sign a kicker because
It was last minute. It was super
exactly
last
there
minute.
was
Yeah.
nothing you could do about it. So when this kind of thing pops up, it's better to have them at least familiar, what I mean, with the other skill set because that's all they do is kick. You know what I mean? Not to say that that's not hard what they do. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
I could kick a 60-yard punt. You know what I mean? So I'm not ragging on them. I'm ragging on the fact that you're not telling them, hey, you got time. You finish your practice early. Go work with Robbie Gold. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's true.
Robbie,
That's a
you're
good point.
done early. Go work with Mitch. You know what I'm saying? You guys got to know each other's things in case something like this ever happens. And look, it happened.
And the
And
play calling should have been a
oh
little
my,
bit different. If you know
oh,
you got a punter kicking on that drive,
mm-hmm.
what they should have been better plays called. You're going.
I
It should have
agree.
been 4 down mode
Yep,
from the get, and I
yep,
don't think it was that. I think it was. I think he got a little bit in conservative again, and just
yes,
I'm gonna try the field goal.
yep.
Um, and it was a mistake. It ended up costing us. The thing that killed me was Cannon. Cannon, not only the fumble,
You mean
Uh,
Kyle? You mean Kyle Williams?
yeah, Kyle Williams 2.0. Two fumbles on the same. How do you fumble twice on one play?
I mean,
Or I
really?
guess technically it's a muff and a fumble, but you know what I'm saying. Two fumbles on the same play. But before that, when he made that bonehead touchback, I was like, get this dude out of the game. Like
Yeah.
that's a rookie mistake. And this dude is supposed to be like
Ace.
ace,
Yeah.
a special teams ace. And he was celebrating like he did something right, and it's
Yeah.
like, dude, you don't even know the fucking rules. Like
Yeah. I
that
love it.
was a that
Mental
set the
mistake.
tone to
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
spiral, and we spiral for a few. And I watched it at Ray Doomzilla's with Big Leo over there and a
Yeah.
couple other
Yeah.
cats, and everybody was, I kept yelling, you can't let this team hang around. You cannot let the Seahawks hang. How many
No.
times have we seen this story play out where Russell Wilson
Mhm.
struggles first half against us and then heats up? And sure enough, second half he came out. I wouldn't say he was on fire, but he was getting a lot done. He was efficient,
Well,
definitely more efficient than our QBs.
you
And that
seen
pass
him.
interference call killed us too. That was a
Oh my
bullshit
God, that
call.
was just ridiculous. Against Kirkpatrick was ridiculous. Um, you seen him in that when he tied up the game. You seen that he started to get his feet underneath him. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? You it 100%. You could never count that guy out ever. You know what I mean? And the simple and plain fact that he's done that to us. I mean, bro, the stat is out of 19 games they've won 15. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? That is pretty ridiculous. I called us this year to sweep them. You know what I mean? This game was definitely in our grasp.
Winnable.
You know what I mean? The defense came and did their job. They bailed the offense out. But it's just like with any other defense. You can't keep sending them on the field
Hmm.
every, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out.
Especially against these elite type quarterbacks, Rodgers, Wilson. The defense even last
Yes.
week had some crucial stops
Yeah.
for us,
Yeah.
and the offense wasn't able to capitalize
That's
again.
right. That's right. And then that all falls on Kyle. You know what I'm saying? And yes, it all falls on Jimmy too. But Jimmy can't be the one out there catching the balls. He can only throw them. So he's. I'm not trying to say that he didn't have his fault in this because he
That
played
pick was horrible.
that pick just changed everything. You know what I mean? So it's those things that make it difficult for those of us who care and think highly of Jimmy to go ahead and try to be on the side and trying to argue for him. You know what I mean? That being said, I think really that there's only so much that you can accept after a while. And I think that's what's bothering Kyle with his play calling is he
Hmm.
refuses to open the playbook. I mean,
Yeah, vanilla,
Jimmy
no
knows
no
everything,
deep passes at
you
all.
know, and
Even
then
with
that
Trey, it
he was
was
the
it was
worst.
even with Trey, he wasn't even opening it. First
That's
of all, he didn't
yeah,
even get Trey into rhythm.
no,
That last drive where we scored, those are the type of plays he should have had called for Trey. You dump off to Debo in the flat,
yeah,
little easy plays to get him in rhythm, and then
yeah.
turn him loose. But even that was poor play calling the first couple drives with Trey out there.
You could see him second guessing himself.
I don't know what's going on with Kyle. I
Yeah,
I, I kind of feel like the league has caught up to him a little bit, and he still thinks he's smarter than everybody, but he's actually not. I think we need to try to pass to set up the run more. I think he's having trouble with his stubbornness. We talked about this on Facebook, me and you. He's just stubborn in play calling, stubborn
yeah.
in personnel.
He gets
Um,
bullheaded.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
like, and it's weird. Like his timing has been off this year. They do that reverse play with Debo on fourth down,
you
and it's
see
like you
that
do that
coming.
on fourth down.
You seen that coming. I mean, you seen their whole defense go to that left side.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's right.
you got a big quarterback who's mobile. Why don't you bootleg him out? Uh,
Well, see, I think actually because you could see Trey running to the sideline, he kept slapping himself in the head. I really do think that was an RPO, and he just read it wrong. You know what I
mm,
mean? You could see that. Who was the backside cornerback that came in at the end, and he was spying Debo the whole time. You know what I mean? So that right there would have been a perfect time to just nice fake and just take off to the left. He wouldn't have got too far, but he would have got the first down. You
yeah,
know?
or just run the ball with a big. You got a big
Oh yeah,
Sermon,
yeah.
Trey Sermon. You got
Look
Juszczyk.
at Kyle.
Um,
Sherman was on today.
yeah, you use either one of those dudes,
Yeah, yeah,
or even the big dude Patrick, Jacques Patrick. He didn't
yeah.
get many carries. Did he get
No,
any carries? I don't even know if
I
he got
doubt he
any
did. I don't think he
carries.
got one carry today. You know.
Oh, he got two for 12,
Okay,
which is a
he got two.
6 yard average.
See, that would have
I
been
felt he should have been used last week, and we didn't use him at all.
well. It was a whole lot going down in here. You know what I mean? And I mean, I can see what Kyle's insistence to dial up a deep out, or I'm saying a deep slant, or you know what I mean, or out and ins or in and outs or whatever have you. You know what I'm saying? Deep slants, all that kind of shit. Um, you could see that he still doesn't trust Lance. You know what I'm saying? Fully. You know,
But see,
but the kid
that's an
has
issue
the
for
arm.
me. That's an issue for me.
It is. Yeah, me too. I agree.
I think
You
this is
know?
this type of quarterback. If you can't tailor your offense to him, maybe you have a problem play calling. I mean, he's got a big arm. Let him use his big arm. Is he going to throw some interceptions? We know he is. But you can't hold this dude back.
No,
You gotta open it up for this dude. If you're gonna
he's
have
got to
success with
learn.
Trey Lance, you're
Yeah.
gonna have to open it up. I didn't see many play action deep passes, and this zone read they kept running was like, why do you keep running the same thing and it's getting stopped? They're obviously keying on. They're ready for this. This is what they
Yeah.
expect when you put Trey Lance in, and yet you run it. I guess they ran it about 10 times. I want to say,
I
and it
agree.
had little success.
You
Uh,
know, he got what? It was 20 carries for something like 88 yards today, something like that.
for Trey,
Yeah. No,
he had
for Sermon.
Oh, Sermon,
Yeah.
19 carries, 89 yards.
So
Solid, 4.7.
serviceable. Yes, definitely way more than serviceable. So the running game sort of was there. It was compared to last week, it was way there. So I mean, just to that in context, it kind of makes you wonder what the hell was he thinking, you know? And this, and I said this when we talked about earlier on Facebook or on Messenger. Um, what's the deal with not challenging these guys and they're giving up almost 400 yards the past 3 games? You really all you have to do is send everybody deep and then throw it over the top, you know. And you
Yeah,
can't
and
tell
try
me
to get try to get a pass interference
a
call.
PI, right? I mean, that's another thing. There was 3 PIs they could have called. You know
And
what I'm saying? And
that
they
should have
played
been a
that.
PI on that. I believe it was a third down where they came and they hit.
George, right?
Yeah, they hit him early.
They chipped him, yeah, and nothing. But you know, Dre barely even doesn't even touch the guy, barely on the shoulder,
Hovers his shoulder. I've seen
little
so much more
fingertip.
physical
You
play
know,
from any team,
dude.
especially Seahawks. They were all
Yeah.
over us and they didn't call shit.
Then you know, and it's the same thing as when Harbaugh used to, you know what I'm saying, play us back, you know, in 2013, 2012, 2011, when they would just basically undress somebody and never get a flag. It's almost like the same thing happened here, like we went in a time warp. But these guys,
It the play calling and the situational football reminds me a lot of Greg Roman. It's funny that you mentioned
yes,
that because I
yes,
see a lot of that. The trickery, it's getting to be a little too much.
yep.
The gimmicks are. I didn't like that. I didn't like that. Flea flicker.
The flea flicker, yeah, it took too long to develop.
Way too long. Was that Patrick? Who threw that?
I
I
have
think it
no
was Jacques
idea.
Patrick. I believe
All I know it was
he
that
pitched it back.
it seemed like when they ran that play, it was the beginning of the second quarter, and then by the time that play ended, it was like the fourth quarter. It's what it seemed
Yeah,
like.
yeah. That took way too long to develop.
Yeah. I mean,
Big Leo. I guess he's not coming on, but he's having some issues.
that's cool.
Technically, says Kyle has been out coached for second game. I mean, I think he's been out coached almost every game this season.
He hasn't.
We have not even played one complete game, complete good game this season. It's been quarter here, quarter there. Against the Lions, we had a pretty good game, but even then, we blew the fourth quarter.
Yeah,
Almost lost that one.
yeah.
Eagles slow first half. So this team is not coming out firing on all cylinders. I don't know if it's all coaching, but man, it's getting scary for the Niners. I said this was a must win, and I wasn't impressed with our the reaction. I mean, we did good that opening drive, and then it was just like, what the fuck play
Flat,
calls
like
are you guys calling?
flat soda. You know what I
They
mean?
did get Kittle involved a little bit. That was nice,
Yeah, yeah.
but yeah, Ayuk was not involved enough for my liking.
Me neither.
What's up with Dwelly? They don't use him barely ever. I think he had a TD though, but I mean, I would like to see him use more,
I
get
would
some
too.
more.
It would be nice. See, Dwelly isn't a burner, but he's an awesome possession guy, in my opinion. You know what I'm saying? So
Exactly.
you can get him in them little like in cuts to where you can just get him beyond the first down marker and then send everybody else on a deeper route. And he'd
hmm
sit there wide open.
Sherfield. I want to
Yeah,
see Sherfield deep. That's what
he's a
we
speedster.
seen in the off in the preseason and couple games already. He's
I
got
mean,
some deep.
that was my main issue with this one, bro. You know, Ayuk can run fast, Debo can run fast, Sherfield can run fast, and then you put Lance in there who has the arm, and he's better deep on his accuracy than Jimmy is. That's one thing I can say
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt in my mind. I know this for a fact. Jimmy is probably better, you know what I mean, with his accuracy on intermediate to short throws. It could be a
So
little
far, so
argument
far.
there. Some people can argue that, and I wouldn't, you know, I would be happy to
But
argue with
Jimmy misses too.
but he missed
Overall, I think I agree with you though. He is more as of right now.
right.
He's more accurate intermediate, but I definitely feel Trey is bigger.
Yeah,
bigger
for the
arm, a
play guy.
better arm, more
Yeah,
live. So
yeah.
I want to see him turned loose. I mean, oh,
But
we
this
got another
this
comment
was
here.
this was why it was so maddening to me today when you know you got all these three guys that they can burn the top off of this soft ass secondary,
Mm-hmm.
and he didn't even really try
Didn't even
except
try.
one time. And then what happened? Debo catches it, 76-yard touchdown. I mean, why didn't you try that at least two, three more times? Scheme somebody open again. I know he doesn't know the whole playbook. I know he's still trying to learn his way, but you cannot say that this kid doesn't have an arm, what I mean, and accuracy on his deep passes more than Jimmy does.
Mm-hmm.
This
Big
was
Leo
the
says he shows no urgency. We were down. Looks like he's playing it with a comfortable. That's what we were
Yeah, I
saying. All
agree. Yep.
this is the second time. I think
Yep.
last week same thing. We were down, and they're just taking their time.
Yep.
7, 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes in the game. You're down 2 scores though. You're down multiple scores, and you're just kind of like comfortable. Just they had a slightly more urgency when we were down today, but it was like, man, they should have been going from fourth once the fourth quarter
Aggressive.
began aggressively.
Aggressive right away. Yeah, they really have no pass rush to speak of too much. You know what I mean? Except maybe
Bosa had one sack today, and that was a good sack. It wasn't a
I'm
covered
not
sack
talking
or
about
anything.
I'm talking about the Seahawks.
Oh,
You know what I'm saying?
Seahawks. Okay.
They hardly have a pass rush to be worried about. You
Dunlap.
Bobby
Dunlap. They
Wagner,
were getting there. They were getting to us with only
and they were
four.
doing it today. Yeah, you know what I mean. But at the same time,
Mac was out, and
they're
and
listening. Yeah, he left early.
I believe he was out most of the second half, and
Okay.
Trent Williams
Right.
as well.
Well, yeah, and then Trent got carted off, and that's when everything really started going downhill already. But from what I'm seeing out there, you know what I'm saying? It's just it shows that yeah, the defense brings a little something. It's not like we've got wide receivers that can't lose their man. You know what I mean? And he was getting just enough time to go ahead and get this out. But the fact that you didn't challenge them is telling to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And if it's okay if you didn't want to challenge because Jimmy's in there and he sometimes has liability on deep passes being accurate. We've seen that. But you gotta come to a point, you know what I'm saying, after a while. It's like, look, either we do or we don't. You know what I'm saying? So it's do or die. We're gonna have to try a few of these. When Jimmy went out, that was your opportunity. You know what I'm saying? When Lance came in, throw that fucking ball deep. Try.
Yeah,
Try,
I just
try to get a
the play
PI.
calling was questionable when
It
he
was
came in.
vanilla today. It was
If
vanilla.
you're not gonna go deep with him, at least roll him out with some bootlegs.
Get
Do
you
some little
separation.
jump offs, some little screen passes. They did
Yeah.
that on the last drive. They
Yeah.
got him a nice screen to
Mm-hmm.
Debo. They got a swing route to Debo as well, I believe.
Yep.
It was just, you got a rookie quarterback coming in his first time. Let him get a rhythm going, and they didn't. I don't feel like they did a good job of that.
I don't.
I
I
feel like
don't
they
agree
tried
with
to
that.
run that
I don't think they
that
did.
same zone read like way too many times.
Nope.
I'm not a fan of Kyle's play calling right now, and I don't know if it's going to get any better. I don't know. I kind of think that the league is pretty much caught up to him, and they're just going to say, beat us passing the ball, and he's reluctant to try to do it deep. So it's gonna keep playing out the same way until, like you said, we take some shots deep, try to get some pass interference calls. We don't have the biggest receivers to throw up
No,
50-50
no, but they're
balls.
fast enough though
They are
yeah,
fast enough.
to
Debo is
create that
playing
separation.
playing his ass off.
I really think Lance can lead some of these guys and let them win their battle. I really do think he can do that. One thing in my mind that he has over Jimmy. So if that's the case, I mean, I understand that he's young and he doesn't know everything, but Jimmy came in and led us on a 5-win streak, and was it 2017, 2018? Can't remember exactly.
2018, I believe.
Smoked too much.
I think it
Yeah.
was
So
2018.
when he came in, you know what I'm saying, he didn't know probably a quarter of the playbook. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? And Kyle simplified a lot of things for him. I'm pretty sure he didn't expect Trey to come in, but he needs to have like at least some other backup plan for some things like that. Now, look, Trey's going to be in there next week. Let's be honest. I doubt Jimmy starts next week.
No, he's
You know
out.
what I mean?
Their rumors are that he may
All
be
right.
out a good portion of time. He's getting MRI on his calf.
Yeah,
But he's
Monday,
saying at
right?
least he's gonna miss a couple weeks. Jimmy put a tweet out.
That's what he said. He did say that. I remember seeing that. So he's definitely out next week for sure. So maybe Kyle will be able to do that. But you know what I'm saying? We can all sit here and shit on Kyle all day. You know what I mean? Certain things happen that you don't see coming. I think a real big reason a lot of this happened is that he knew Mostert was his guy. You know what I mean? Mostert going down really hurt him. You know what I'm saying? And then Elijah going down really hurt him because I'm gonna say that kid.
But Sermon was there today. I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly. You know what I mean? So, but the thing what I'm trying to say, the point I'm trying to get to is that he believes a lot in that kid because the kid is a one cut runner, just like Mostert. You know, bam the hole and I'm out of here. You know what I mean? So Sermon really isn't that too much. He's, I'm gonna run and make your defense tired by just keep running into them, and eventually I'll break a big one. But you know, the fact that he did help out in that run game today said a lot. But the fact that he just didn't, he just you talk about getting Lance in a groove. Kyle needs to do the same damn thing. He was totally out of sync today. You know what I mean with this play calling. It just the game plan didn't look good. You know what I mean. You don't go into a 32nd ranked defense and then play them soft.
mm-hmm.
You play them aggressive. You beat the crap out of them, chip them. You do whatever you have to do to make them remember who you are and then how weak they are. You know what I mean? Now they had a chip on
Exactly.
their shoulder because of how they lost the week before, and then they're 1-2, and they know their season could be very damaged by losing to us today. So they were going to come out and play. They're going to get their licks. Let's be honest. You know what I mean? Because of Russ and because of Metcalf. You know what I mean? So they're going to get their licks. They're going to get theirs. The thing is just limiting that, and I think the defense as a whole kind of did that for most of the first half. It's just this crappy offensive game plan. Jimmy's kind of just up and down play, even though before he got injured, he's at 150 yards, 10 of 16 and a touchdown. Without that
Mm-hmm.
pick, he's doing a lot better. But it's just a lot of that just kind of just bubbled up to the surface, and before you know it, the game's already out of reach. It didn't really make a lot of sense to me. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. And stat wise, uh, Trey Lance was 9 of 18, 157 yards. He had 2 TDs, no interceptions. So in that standpoint, he did stand out a little bit over Jimmy in that area. Higher quarterback rating. Now a lot of it was some of it was some softer defenses,
Yeah.
but I mean this is what I expected from the Rook overall. There were some nasty passes into the dirt I didn't like, and the timing was off on a couple of them. But you do see some of the some flashes of what he is capable of.
Yeah.
Just from the rushing standpoint, 41 on 7 carries for Trey Lance. I didn't like the way they used him in the running game,
Yeah.
personally. But he was still able to make some plays out of it. He got 41 in a long of 13.
Right.
So it is going to be opened up. But I want to see, man, I'm going to keep repeating myself. I want to see them attack deep with Trey next week. We got the Cardinals who are hot. Basically, our season comes down next week. You lose this game, you're going to be 3 games down in the division. So, I mean, that's where we stand.
Give me
Yeah,
one,
yeah,
brother.
it's all good. That's where we stand in this thing. We're on the edge of elimination early on, because if we come out and we end up 2-3 in a division as stacked as ours, where we still got plenty of division games to play, it's gonna be lights out. We got to beat the Cardinals somehow, some way. Kyle's got to get the play calling under control, because if we lose this game, we're done. Uh,
Well,
I I think we're done if we lose this game.
it's hard for me to disagree with that, just based on the fact that in this league, when you drop so many games, um, it's pretty much a wrap. You know what I mean? And it
But
might
on
be
the bright side, we win that game, we're only 1 game back.
that's right. I mean, it might be a little different this year, the fact that we have the extra game, you know, but in my opinion, it was very, very, very important to start off at least 4-1, 5-0, because we got our bye week at week 6, and then we got,
We got a tough
a
schedule.
long road to hoe. You know what I mean? So that is really going to hurt us in the long run. You know what I mean? So, I mean, yes, we've got Wilson coming back. We've got a couple other guys, what I'm saying, itching at the part to get back up in here and to help out. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully those reinforcements, what I'm saying, will allow us to, be a little bit better on the offensive side of the ball. D'Amico is having a few growing pains, but overall, largely, I think he's doing a lot better than the offense is right now.
Yeah,
Um,
I would agree with that.
so that being said, there's
Oh,
certain things.
one point I want to mention.
Yes, sir.
Trent Williams, they're saying his shoulder injury may be serious, so we may be without Trent for a while. We just can't stay healthy.
I read a article not too long ago about Joe Staley and what he was talking about how things were different under Harbaugh. And how Harbaugh always used to say, "You need to build up a callus, build up a callus, build up a callus." Now, do you remember when in them Harbaugh teams, how many people we've lost over those few years that just didn't come back to play that year?
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't too many. It was that at the most maybe two guys
Yeah,
that
we had a couple injury years, but
you know what I
nowhere
mean.
near as bad as these ones.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying right there. And the reason that that didn't happen much, you know what I mean, was because like not the injury attrition that we're having right now. The reason it didn't happen much to Harbaugh is because Harbaugh used to make those guys go two a days, damn near throughout camp and go hard, and that's what Staley was saying why we always stayed healthy because we were always already from all them ass kickings and training camp and OTAs. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
We built up our callus. We were tough. We could
And that
take
and
the game beating.
that's one thing I like about Pete Carroll. Even though I hate seeing him
I
beat
hate
us.
that guy. Yeah, but yeah,
They play fucking physical at camp.
mm-hmm.
They play hard. They train hard, and he lets them fucking go. The gloves are off.
Oh,
I would love to see that more from our guys.
and I could understand why Kyle didn't really want to do that too much these last couple of years because of all the
Yeah,
injuries.
it's
But
catch twenty
if
two.
if you figure, you know what I'm saying, you're making these guys a lot tougher. You ain't gonna have to worry about that as much. So it is like you just said, it's the catch 22. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. I personally think that that probably is a better way to go, just to try to stave off these nagging injuries. You know what I mean?
And the way we draft too, man. I gotta say we
Yes,
do
yes,
draft guys that do have some injury issues. Even
yeah,
Debo, we knew Debo wasn't like 100% like injury proof. Injury,
no, true,
he had some injury issues basically.
yeah.
And then you see it with Kinlaw. He's a guy who can't stay healthy already. But we knew he had a bad knee coming when we drafted him. So some of these guys is like, and Ayuk, he hasn't been the healthiest dude either. And it's
Yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, that right there could be argued to a little bit, bro. You know what I mean? But I agree. I agree to a point where you're coming from with a lot of this because you know what I'm saying. I think a lot of Debo's injuries are just the fact.
he's a
You're gonna
physical
have to live.
dude. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's just he's so physical, bro. You're gonna have a couple bumps and bruises with him just like that. Ayuk, it was it was pretty screwed up last year that he had to deal with that little bull crap, and then of course he had to deal with the COVID. I think the kid could have had a damn near 900-yard season had he not had to deal with any of that. He had to miss what 3-4 games, something
Mm-hmm.
like that. So, you know, I really think that they really, there's something wrong in Kyle's system right now. I just don't know. I can't pinpoint it. I do know that is definitely to do with mental mistakes. You know what I mean? They need to get they need to
I
get
think he
somebody
needs
in
to
there.
change his temporarily way of thinking temporarily
Mhm,
and pass first to set up the run. I
mhm,
think you has to. Otherwise, teams are just going to continue to key in on us, taking away the trick plays, taking away the reverses, taking away all the underneath stuff. That's what they're doing. They're just keying in on that. And I think unless he comes out aggressively trying to pass the ball deep and open up things, we're gonna keep saying seeing the same shit play itself out over and over again.
So I mean, it's a lot of it's a lot of this just this crap where there's just no harmony. You know what I mean? In his defense, his offense, when there's harmony, you see all that beautiful stuff we see all the time. You know what I mean? But he's got to remember too that there's other people like Use Chick. Like when Juice gets out there and you use him, it opens up other things. You know what I
No
mean?
doubt.
and um, and it's basically based on the fact that nobody really ever expects him to get as much love as he did last game. He got so much love, and look how many times they left him open, even after consecutive plays when he had positive yardage. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? People just seem to forget, oh, because he's a fullback, and what I mean, the fullbacks, there's no way they're going to go to him again. Oh, really? Here's a touchdown. You know what I mean? So there's other people that he needs to go ahead and scheme around too. You know what I mean? Now we don't get paid millions of dollars to do what he does.
Mm-hmm.
So, it could be easily just brushed off the shoulder as armchair quarterbacking here. But for those of us like you and me who've watched this game and studied this game our whole lives, you can't just take what we say at face value. That's just, that's some dude who doesn't know what he's talking about. He ain't never played. You know what I mean? Yo, if you study something your whole life, you know something about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So that being said, it'd be nice if other people in the organization, and we talked about this already, like the scouts, you know what I'm saying, are getting a little love because, like you said already to me before, that, I mean, it seems like they don't listen to the scouts at all. Now, you don't have to listen to them all 100%,
True.
but to take what they say into consideration when you're making your choices and your decisions would be only beneficial for all of us, on that team. So I just think that there's a little discord off in there right now. You know what I mean? And they need to go ahead and get themselves back together. Bringing in a psychotherapist to just, you know what I'm saying, get people on the same page, or even like just some kind of like yoga master or whatever, just to get cats relaxed, because it just seems like they're all a little bit off on offense, and I just don't understand what it is.
I
You know?
think that Lynch and Shanny are a little bit guilty. I think I've mentioned this before
Mm-hmm.
of over evaluating our guys.
Okay.
I know you know that you draft these guys, you pick them up free agency. Of course, you have a natural tendency to do that, but I
Mm-hmm.
think that we really do overvalue, especially the secondary. This should have been addressed way earlier than the third or fourth round. You and I both had guys that we liked, we wanted
Yes.
drafted. I
Yeah.
wanted Asante Samuel as one of
Yeah.
them,
Mm-hmm.
and we elected to go and get Aaron Banks. Um, and now that looks terrible. As you
It
see,
does.
Samuel already has 2 picks on probably a less impressive defense than ours. Front seven,
Mm-hmm.
they got a Bosa too, but I feel like maybe our front seven is a little bit better than theirs.
Yeah.
So you put him on our squad, and he probably has those same 2 picks, if not more.
Yeah.
And we just I was mentioning this today at the while we were watching the game. We just don't have many playmakers on defense aside from Warner and Bosa. That's pretty much it. Jimmy Ward is a guy who doesn't get any picks, no fumbles. Tart as well. They're not bad, but we don't have playmakers. We don't have any ball hawks. Corners as well. Kirkpatrick looked good today,
He
coming
did.
in to fill in,
He did.
but we don't have those guys that are getting these picks, getting these fumbles and causing havoc out there. We don't have anybody like that. We don't have a honey badger. We don't
Yeah.
have anybody who's swarming, flying around the ball, just causing ruckus, causing havoc. We don't have that. So I think we definitely need to look at getting some playmakers on defense in the draft because that'll
I
help out some things.
I
Turnovers,
agree.
we're not getting any turnovers.
I agree. I agree. I mean, we said a little bit about it earlier about Shanny being just a little too stubborn for his own good, and when we talked about it earlier about Hurd, that's a perfect example of his stubbornness. This guy, he's played what, 2 preseason games in the last 3 years, and he just can't stay healthy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's nothing there really. You know what I'm saying? It's just their hopes that he can come out and then all of a sudden just be like another DK, or what I'm saying.
And that was a big mistake.
It's not gonna.
Not having a backup plan. They wanted to go with Jennings and
Mhm.
Hurd as their big receivers, big tall receivers who can make
Yeah.
plays. And Jennings just doesn't have the explosiveness. I've mentioned this. He can be physical. I could see him as like a second tight end possibly down the
Yeah,
road,
I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
but he doesn't have the explosiveness to get down the field and make those plays. And Hurd, he may have it. I'm not sure. He didn't
Oh,
look
he
very
has the speed.
explosive in that last game,
Yeah, he
in
has
his
the speed.
preseason game.
They're very high on him because he has the intangibles. But the problem is, everybody wants, I mean, shit on Jimmy for not being available. You know what I'm saying? Look at Hurd. It's the
Hurd
same
ain't never
thing. You know
available.
what I mean? So I personally would have went all in on Sanu. Sanu's been looking really good in his second go round with us. He stays healthy. He knows the offense better than damn near, probably even better than Jimmy. You know what I'm saying? So, I would have just penciled him in like that. He's not a speedster, but he is a big bodied possession receiver that can get you the first down. So it's great in that aspect of it. But you know what? This stubbornness and this bullheadedness bullshit needs to really go somewhere. You know what I mean? Because on the real, you kept Hurd, but then you released Clinton, haha, Clinton Dix. You
Mm-hmm.
really don't think that he could have helped us today? You know what I'm saying? Or even in the last game against Rodgers, we could have done a three safety, a three deep safety, what I'm saying, defense, and had our 4 guys in the front still trying to tear things down, you know. And Clinton, he's still good. You know what I mean? I don't really care what a lot of people say about the guy. You know what I'm saying? There was nothing wrong with him. He just opted out of the Corona year, you know? So seeing him up in there would have been nice. You know what I mean? And there's that's a roster spot that's just gone. You know what I mean? Now that he's on injured reserve, yeah, there's not a roster spot gone, but still, you are holding out hope for him to come back. So then somebody else is going to get cut for this guy who could barely, man, he can get injured standing up. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's shown now. It's just there's certain things that they're just not willing to accept that they're wrong about. And they need to go ahead and get over that. You
All
know,
right. let me just get this in here from Big Leo. He says if Elijah plays next week, this can help Kyle open the playbook. Yeah, definitely.
I agree
He's a
because he
more
hits, like
explosive
you
back.
said, yeah, he hits the hole. He's a one cutter. He's just like a Mostert, but he's a more mini Mostert. He doesn't have the size that Mostert does. You know.
I'm a little bit perplexed as to why Kyle doesn't really go after any kind of like receiving backs.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Given that he went after McKinnon that first year, and he would have been a good fit had he stayed healthy.
Yeah.
But then after that, we didn't really get any scat backs. Hasty is somewhat of that. Elijah Mitchell is somewhat of that. But there's been like some receiving scat backs we could have gone after. Even with all these injuries, we were looking at Duke Johnson, and we
Yeah.
elected not to go that route.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of wondering why. I don't.
I agree that Hasty is the closest thing to a scat back we have. I think more so than Jamichael because he has more speed. Um, I think that's what they envisioned the role for him before the injuries, you know. But a bell cow, one cut speedster is basically what we need in this offense. Somebody who's kind of tough. And I seen not too long ago an article stating that we should probably consider a trade for Saquon. Um, I
I
don't
don't know if the
know.
money adds up. I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah.
if we
I
can
don't
make
know
that
how
work.
how how easy that would be to work out. I mean, with Jimmy coming off the books next year, because let's be honest, he's not going to be here next year. You know what I
Nah,
mean?
he's gone.
Unless they
I
restructure.
don't think he plays again this season, especially if he has the injury. If they
Yeah, I mean,
Trey,
depending
it's
on
gonna
how
be by the time he gets back, it's gonna be Trey's
he's
team.
going to be fully entrenched. I believe that too. Now, I mean, this is what I think a lot of people were alluding to in the beginning of the year when they were talking about, oh, he'll overtake him by this time or that time, or I think they just got tired of his injury prone situation. You know what I mean? And it's going to be the same for a lot of guys on this team this year that ain't going to be here next year. You know, so that's what I seen something about that. I don't know how the numbers would work out and whatnot, but
I
what we
wouldn't. I wouldn't be mad if we could make it happen somehow. I ain't gonna front.
exactly because that kind of guy is pretty much what we need here. Somebody, I mean, of course, yeah, he was injured for a year ago, but I don't see that as happening with this kid constantly. You know what I mean? And on another topic, you see Le'Veon Bell just sitting over there on the Ravens practice squad. And yeah, he ain't the guy he was when he was with the Steelers.
I
But
would have took a flyer on him a while
yeah, why
ago.
not? Why not? If you're going to take a flyer on these other guys that carry on Johnson and what I'm saying and Cannon and and I can't remember
And
his name.
that's what our O line is built for, running the
Well,
ball.
exactly. And if you're going to try, and
Latavius, what about
that
Latavius Murray?
that would even Latavius, somebody what I'm saying that can kind of stand up to a bit of the grind, And then you're talking about receiving skills out the backfield. Le'Veon has that,
That's his expertise. That
And then he's
and a
been
little
humbled.
delayed picking his hole, which would be
Yeah,
perfect for our offense.
I think he lost his big ass head after he ate that whole humble pie that he got served up in New York. You know what I'm saying? He's not talking loud like that no more. He just wants to get himself back up to where he was. And with our O line and our zone, I think that could have helped him a
No,
lot. Just
I agree. I think
about
that's
the
a good
back,
fit. Even if
you know.
it's a flyer, you're not gonna pay much for this
No,
dude.
you're not.
He
You're gonna
could
pay
come
him
in.
the
What's the worst
minimum.
that happens? You pay him a couple and then you cut
Yeah,
him if he's fucking up. I mean,
yeah,
I
I
agree.
agree. And it just try. Don't go looking for guys that are off the street, Kyle. I mean, your dad did that shit. Worked with Olandis Gary and a bunch of other guys that he just pulled out of the nowhere. You know, but
I
then
think
they
Kyle
leave.
likes to hear that shit though. Like, oh, he's the genius that gets it done with this guy, with that guy. Chip Kelly was guilty of that. He wanted the
Yeah,
he
yeah,
didn't need a quarterback, according
yeah.
to him. He never needed a quarterback until he
I can
needed
make it
one.
work. Yeah,
Until he got fired, and then he needed a quarterback. And that's the way it's gonna end up for Shanahan if he keeps fucking around with this. I don't want to get a top tier bell
hmm
cow running back.
yep,
Yes, you can get by without one, but why would you want to if you have the ability to get one? That's my
yeah,
point.
yeah. And it's almost similar to what's going on here with our defensive backs. Now, that's not a knock on Norman because I think even in them little pint-sized servings that we had of him, he looked a lot better than pretty much most of what we got so far right now. And then Kirkpatrick, Dre looked pretty good today too.
That was
Besides
not
that
a fucking penalty.
ticky
That was a
tack ass
bullshit penalty,
bullshit, just pull him out of the fire. You know what I mean?
and that
So
cost us the game essentially right there. We
I
were down.
believe it. I
We
believe
were
that.
down 7, and then
Yep.
it put us down 14. That was a third down. They would have had to punt,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken.
You're right. No, you're right. They
I
would have
think
had a punt.
that pretty much sealed the game for them.
Yep. And
And we
so
never get those calls. That's what frustrates me the most. Is we don't
yeah,
ever get those
yeah,
calls.
it's very rare. Like we'll get those calls near the beginning of the game, never at the end when our balls are in the fire. You know, so I mean, it's almost like the same thing we're doing on running backs, the same thing we're doing with cornerback. You know what I mean? But the only thing that kind of saves that as being actually completely true is the play of Norman and Kirkpatrick. Now, if Norman doesn't get injured, maybe we're not talking about this right now. You know, would you start Norman or Kirkpatrick over Mosley? Mosley actually did pretty good today, but
I think I
you
like
know, with
Mosley in the
K1
slot and
out,
those two big dudes on the outside. Why not?
exactly. That's what I was just gonna say. So like you can put Mosley in the slot because K1's out for a while. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think we would have had a different showing today with those guys, all those guys in there.
I think
And
Kirkpatrick's going to be good for us. I could
I've
be
always
wrong.
liked.
I
I
like
always,
the length.
hmm
In a cover three,
Yeah.
when Seattle was at their peak, they had two big, rangy,
hmm
Sherman and Brandon Browner,
Yep.
and that's kind of I kind of am perplexed at that too. Is why we don't go after longer corners
Yep.
in the draft
Yep.
or free agency.
Yeah. I like
When
Lenore.
prototypically that's what you want for a cover three type of defense.
It's true. I like Lenore, but I would rather see him more on
He was a good
spot.
pick. He was a good pick, but
Yeah.
that pick we should have addressed this way earlier in the draft.
Yes.
What did we
Yeah.
get him in the fourth, fifth?
I
I
believe
can't
he
even
was a
remember.
fifth. I believe he was a fifth guy. You know, a fifth
Yeah, I
rounder.
mean this should have
You
been
know.
addressed. This was a need
Yeah.
because you could
Definitely.
not count on Verrett going into the season. We all
No.
wanted to,
Yeah.
but you gotta put some Affleck and get some insurance back there in case,
Here. Here.
especially when you have these injury prone dudes. I mean,
Yeah.
you
Yep.
just have to.
That's true.
So I just think we're passing out blame to Shanny, but Lynch is gonna have to get some of this blame
Yeah. Oh
as
yeah.
well.
Well, as a whole, as a franchise, everybody these last two, you know, what I'm saying L's that we took home, everybody's at fault. I don't see one person not sharing this blame. You know what I'm saying? Some people do deserve a little
Debo don't
more.
deserve that.
You know what I mean? But you know, everybody gets a little piece of this fire right here because everybody, you know what I mean, in a sense, at one time or another in these last two losses, complete mental breakdown. You know what I mean? So I don't know what they need to do. Everybody need to get together, kumbaya, smoke a doobie, whatever have you. But they need to get more cohesive because there's a lot of little stupid things that they do that just kind of ruin, you know what I'm saying, our momentum and our chemistry.
I need to get some all 22 tape
Mm,
because I want to see the routes we were running when Trey was out there today. Because I felt like we were running some weird stuff, and they weren't giving us many glimpses of what the routes we were running from the camera angles. And I'd also like to
yeah,
see
true.
how often are we stunting with Bosa? Because it seems like he just does the outside pass rush every time, and I feel like he might benefit from stunting a little bit more, sending another guy. Why not put him and D Ford on the same side sometimes? We're not
Overload.
very creative with this kind of stuff.
Overload. Yes, I agree. I agree. You know, I mean, they are trying to get a couple of little things. You know what I'm saying? And they're doing things a little differently. But you know, there's certain things I'm just not a fan of, like Armstead as an end. He's
I'm just not a
not
fan of
an
Armstead at
end,
all.
bro. If he's at an end, go ahead and put him at the end when you know a run play is coming, and he'll blow that shit up. I give him that. He is definitely great as run stuffer on the end. But if you want him to be cheeseburger eating on quarterbacks, you need to have that guy where he does his best work. It's just inside. That's why we got Kinlaw. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
To take over after we got
I
rid
like
of
Hurst in the middle too today.
Hurst played a good game, and I'm glad he came when we needed him the most. You know, DJ's holding his shit down too. Arden Key's not looking too bad when he subs in.
Hmm.
But the thing is, we let Defoe go to get Kinlaw to
Hmm.
to reload the line. You know what I mean, and have that same push that we had before. But you just keep rotating guys when they don't need to be rotated. You know, I mean, you
Yeah.
keep playing Armstead out of position, and it's just not helping. You know what I mean? I mean, today I've seen the same thing he's done, and you know what? He's definitely affects the game in different ways. I will say that. You know, I'm not going to shit on him, but he's always had that one problem where he'll take the B gap instead of going outside of that tackle and letting his help, like linebacker on the backside, come in and fill that hole so that Russ can't get out. But he did that today, and he's done that I don't know how many times. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
And now, if he's just running the play that he was told to run, then that's on D'Amico. You know what I mean? But if he's freelancing and going inside on that B gap when he's supposed to be shooting on the outside of the shoulder of the left tackle, you know what I'm saying? No wonder Russ just keeps just running out of there and just getting free. You know, so
One thing that pissed me off that I seen today was that Hyder was out there on the other side, and he was making
Hmm.
some plays, and we just let him walk. And I felt like he was our best pass rusher last year, and
Man,
I don't see why we didn't make a run at him.
dude, we talked about that before the draft. I was heated that he let that. He always plays his best under Kasarik. When he was with
And
the
he has a
Lions,
motor. This
8
dude don't.
sacks.
This
He doesn't
This
give
dude
up.
don't stop.
Exactly. That's what I love about him. You know what I mean? I'd have rather kept him, and then now you got a prime sub for D Ford. You know what I'm saying? So that right there really blew. It pissed me off. You know what I mean? Because that you could have had him for the same amount, maybe even less than the Seahawks paid him. You know?
It seemed like we just were content letting him walk.
Yeah.
We
Oh, because
figured we
we
had too much depth. I guess I don't
well
understand the
no, because we
thinking.
went after the invisible man, Samson Mabukum, who's so fast that we don't even see him when he's on the field rushing.
He's been
He's a
quiet as a
non-existent
mouse,
player,
field
dude.
mouse.
I do not know what's going on there. You
I
know?
was just telling Big Leo that today.
Yeah.
I was like, dude, where is Ibuka? Where is this dude? Like, does he have a sack? I doubt he has any
No,
sacks on the
he
season.
probably got a couple tackles. That's about it. And he's mostly on special teams. That's where you're going to see him. So we
That's
paid for a 4 year guy. What 4 years? I think was it or 2 years?
I'm not even sure off the top of my head. I can't. I don't want to guess.
I know this much. I think he was more expensive than Kerry.
Yeah, I would guess. I
You
would
know,
guess
he was
with
he was
less
more. You
production.
know, I think with that guy because he didn't stop. He doesn't know the meaning of the word stop until he hears that whistle. You know,
hmm
with
and
him
with our
from
line now, he'd be nasty.
he would be definitely nasty. You know, and you wouldn't have drop off too much in production when you needed to give Ford a rest. So I was so hoping to see that. Him and Bosa on opposite sides of each other with him spelling Ford. Because we would have still had that pressure in that pocket. But just the way I'm seeing things unfolding right now, it doesn't make me too juiced up for the future so far.
Yeah, so I was gonna ask you real quick before we get out of here. Just what are your predictions for us now? Do we even make the playoffs at this point? Are you gonna be positive? Are you negative? Like, where are you at after this tough loss?
It's a long season. We still got 13 games to go. You know,
Yeah,
I'm not going to throw in the towel on anything yet. But what I will say is, time's running out. It's not running in. You know what I mean? So we have only so much time to get this together. You know what I mean? To plug the dikes up in here, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't need this boat filling up with water and then capsizing or just going down. We can still get it together. Winning the West, I don't know. You know what I mean? We're going to need some things to happen in order to win the West. Um,
Kyler Murray. I mean,
yeah,
the good thing is we're one. If we win on Sunday, we're one game out. So
exactly.
that heals a lot of shit with
Yeah,
just that win there.
yeah,
We still need to play pretty lights out the rest of the season, but
yes,
like you said, I'm not throwing in the towel yet.
no, no,
We may get a spark from
yes,
Trey Lance starting. Defense might respond, uh, and we may turn around the season if we can get a win. We're definitely gonna be big dogs
hmm
against the Cardinals next week. Everybody's picking them. We all know that.
hmm
Um, but if we can get the run game going, if we can get Trey going a little bit, defense responds, contains Kyler Murray, we can escape with the win and only be one game out of first place. That would be
it's
fucking
true.
amazing.
Yep.
But it's a definite possibility.
Yes,
Stranger things have happened. So I mean, I'm still fairly positive on the squad
yes,
overall.
yes. I am. I
And,
agree.
and if we do get in, nobody wants to see us. I'll say that.
Well, it's always the teams that have the biggest fight in them. You know what I'm
hmm
saying? That will finish strong. I think we can definitely do that. I just think that there's certain things that we need to definitely like when we go into halftime, we make adjustments. That needs to happen now. You don't want to drop another game. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah, if
now,
you go down three, then
exactly.
season could be in
I mean, we
jeopardy.
like you said, stranger things have happened. When what was it? Oakland when they lost to the Bucks in the Super Bowl. What did they? Well, they started 0-4 or 1-4, something like that,
Something crazy.
and
Yeah.
then they went to the Super Bowl. So it's not like it can't be done. It could be done, but you need to right the damn ship. If there's something in there that you're being stubborn about, get over it and get rid of it. You know what I mean? Let's be honest. It's easier said than done, and I will say that. You know what I mean? Because I hate being that guy. I hate being the armchair quarterback who thinks he has all the damn answers. These ain't answers. These are just observations on what we've been seeing, in my opinion. And ain't nothing wrong with observations because they can basically help you right your wrongs.
Yeah, agreed,
You
man.
know, so let's hope that what I'm saying, that Kyle goes in there and takes a good long look in the mirror and says, "What can I do better?" I hope everybody, not just Kyle, hell with that, everybody. You know what I mean? Like I said, I'm not going to harp on the defense. They did as much as they could by being just put into constantly bad situations and just going back on that field after three and out and three and out and three and out. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And we didn't even talk about the shitty clock management on that last drive. You know what I mean? He probably figured, hey, well, we're going to have to go for, an onside anyway. So what's the point in rushing this? You know what I mean? But regardless, if you've got 4 minutes to work with and you're not even trying to throw it to the sideline, kind of telling there to me, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
I'm eager to see what Trey does with the full week, and knowing he's gonna be the starter, getting all the practice reps, and
Yes.
getting
Yes.
building some rapport
Yep.
with
With the
the
guys.
receivers and
Yep.
Kittle.
Yep.
Hopefully, Kittle's not banged up too bad. It was a nasty looking
That
injury, but he looked like he was okay.
looked a little dirty to me, man. To be honest with you, that looked a little dirty. I didn't like that. You know what I mean? These guys are zeroing in on Kittle's knees because they know that he's 270 pound, 60 pound kettlebell. You know what I mean? So nobody wants to get whomped by him. But let's be honest, guys. We could leave that cheap shot shit. You know what I'm saying? Pretty, because he was just basically trying to flip him, and it could have turned into basically the same injury, like a hybrid injury that we saw Bowman go
Mm-hmm.
through, and basically Bosa last year. You know what I mean? So I don't know, man.
I've been wanting
What's
Trey
going on?
in, so I'm happy.
We got a lot to work on.
I'm happy Trey's getting a shot.
Yep.
Um, because we talked about it several times, but
Yeah.
I just feel like Jimmy's still making those rookie mistakes anyway. So why not go with the guy with more potential to open up the offense?
What I will say is this: after a while, I like the kid, but Kendrick Bourne dropped way too many passes for me to be too comfortable with him. You know what I mean? Now he did do things sometimes, like he drop a pass, and then you get a touchdown. But then the very next, it's a
Mm-hmm.
crucial thing again, and then he drops the ball on the first down.
Inconsistent.
You know, Jimmy is starting to have that same issue. You know what I mean? Looks like a world beater 1 minute, and the next minute it's just all bad. So
Yeah, and you can't be a game manager when you're making these turnovers.
no, no, you need to go over there and do what he used to do. You throw a pick, all right. Very next, we're gonna run it through to a touchdown, baby. Let's go. So we need to mess around and start getting just a little bit more aggressive. You know what I mean? And there's times where you can be more aggressive and more conservative. He needs to start towing that line again, because these last couple, it's been just looking like he's coaching to not lose rather than coaching to win. We've got a lot to work on. But since it's still so early in the season, we've still got a chance to turn this thing around. You know what I mean? It's not scorched earth just yet. You
Mm-hmm.
get we get down to 2-4, 2-5, shit's heads should start rolling. You know what I mean? So
I,
hopefully we can do things here.
yeah, I think Jimmy's season is done, barring a Trey Lance injury or just off the wall terrible play out of Trey Lance. But
Right.
I think we've seen the last of Jimmy unless we get an injury. I could see him coming in the playoffs, maybe making a run if Lance were to go down. But
I agree.
I think Trey era has begun, whether you wanted to or not,
Yeah.
and I'm excited for it personally. Now I will say he was not my pick. I wanted Justin Fields. I've
Me
been
too.
vocal about
Me
that.
too. Me too.
Me and Womack been going back and forth
Mm-hmm.
about him and Jimmy. I've always said I wanted Trey to start over Jimmy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I said on draft day I had a second round grade on Trey Lance personally. But when you're
Okay.
talking about him versus Jimmy, that's a different argument.
Right.
So Womack trying to say, oh, you know this and that. I never Trey Lance is not my guy per se.
Mm-hmm.
But on this roster, yes, he's my
Yeah,
guy.
we're gonna roll with
So
him. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna
I
roll with
agree.
him.
Yeah.
So and I'm impressed with some things and expected some of the stuff we seen, the throws at the feet and all that. A couple behind him and some erratic play, but he's a rookie with a big arm, and I want to see this dude, see what he's capable of. I think he can be in Shanahan's system. He could be a great fit.
Mm-hmm.
Just remains to be seen. It may take some time. I never really thought he would come in and just be accurate and this and that.
Take over.
He's gonna
Yeah.
have some growing pains for sure.
I
But
always felt that Jimmy. I always felt that we should took the Mahomes approach when it came to this kid. You know what I mean? Because he
and
did sit
I
for.
can't be mad at that either
Yeah.
at all.
The only reason being though, because he sat You know what I'm
for a
saying?
while. He only played
He
one
opted
game.
out. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? He opted out of his last season. So I figured it'd be better to just let him get, his feet wet, and then his knee, and then his ankles, and then his knees, and then his whole body. You know what I'm saying? Get into the pool. You know, that's what I always felt with him. But, push comes to shove, and what I'm saying, somebody gets injured, and you know what I mean? Hey,
it's
you know,
time.
next
It's
man up,
time.
dude. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're ready for it or not, you better hit the ground running. Because in this league, it's a lot different in college, especially when it's Division 2. You know, I agree
Uh,
with you. I wanted Fields more than this kid, but this is what we got now.
yeah,
So, and that's what we're just gonna have to do. I thought Jimmy just has a shit ton of bad luck following him around for some odd reason or another. You know what I mean? And I felt that he deserved the opportunity to show what he could do. Also, just in case he did, become a world beater, and then he throws for 4,500 yards, and now we can
trade
get
him.
a second round pick out of him. You know what I mean? But I don't know if that's going to happen now, bro. It's
Nah,
still that's likely happening.
he's gonna get either cut. He's gonna get cut or traded somewhere. But
I
we ain't
think
getting
now
nothing. We ain't getting nothing higher than a fourth or fifth for him at
fourth or
this
fifth.
point.
Yeah, exactly. I think now that's about as much
We
as we
should have
can
done it
expect. Maybe even less.
before the draft. Before the
Yeah,
draft was the prime time to do it. If we knew we were getting Trey anyway, we could have
yeah,
got some quarterback needy team. There was talks of the Patriots,
yeah.
I believe maybe the Redskins. So
But we know what they were
it is
trying.
what it is at
They were
this
trying to
point.
do the run back. You know what I'm saying? The revenge tour. It was a nice thought, but what things are looking like right now, I don't know if that's really going to be possible. You know what I mean? But hopefully things change, and then you start hitting our stride when it comes to health, and K1 comes back, and then you know what I'm saying, and Norman comes back.
Win next week. Win
You
next
know,
week
we'll solve a
makes
lot.
things great. Yes,
That's the biggest
exactly.
bomb. So let's hope that what I'm saying, things change up, and and they just start kind of gut check. You know what I mean?
Yep. All right. Well, let's get out of here. It's getting kind of late in the evening,
There you
so
go.
we're gonna be running it back tomorrow. I don't know if you're available tomorrow. If not, thanks for coming on today because definitely wanted to get your opinion on some of this stuff.
Right on, brother.
So yeah, if you guys are just tuning in out there, make sure to give us a like and subscribe. And we're doing our regular show tomorrow night, either 9 or 9:30, depending on everybody's schedules. But we'll definitely be on to kick our shit and talk Niners, full NFL review, and all that good stuff. So like I said, give a like and subscribe, and right on Wall for joining me tonight to break this shit down.
Hey, yo, baby, win, lose, or tie, Niner till we die.
Exactly. That's why I'm so hard on them because
Mhm.
that's my fucking squad.
That's
I'm
right.
not a fair weather fan. I'm not I care about the squad a lot. Die hard, born and
That's right.
raised.
That's right.
So I'm harsh on them. I got that tough love, but it's all for the
Yep.
purpose of I want to see us do win games and
That's
do
right.
fulfill our capabilities
That's right.
at all times.
You
So
know what I mean? Just because we get pissed and we flip and we throw shit and we curse and whatever have you, don't mean we gonna stop cheering for your boys.
it comes from a place of love.
That's real.
All right, man. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know if you're available tomorrow, but we'll talk about that.
We'll
We'll
see.
see what's
We'll see,
what.
baby. I hear you,
All right,
baby.
we out of here.
Peace, y'all.
Peace.
Niner Empire.
Late.